issues. Okay, hello everyone. Let me ping the Discord. YouTube notifications. Going live. Woo. Okay. Let me also get the music set up on my end, so I'm not just listening to nothing. A little background for me. Street music mix. Let me make sure that that's not doubling up. Yep, okay. Cool. So, I think that should leave us good to go. How is everyone doing tonight? So, compared to the last few streams, we are not going to be doing anything too crazy. This time, we are just going to be focusing on some enemies you might actually use in your campaigns. These guys have kind of been missing for a while. They are iconic. So I figure it's as good a time as any to knock them out. So, let's see. Blade Lineage is going to be mostly poise with a little bit of bleed. Kurokumo clan, mostly bleed, maybe a little bit of poise. So, where do we want to start? We already have, if I find Blade Lineage, we have the Blade Lineage mentor, who's kind of a mini-boss. He might honestly get some revisions during the stream, or maybe next stream, whatever, maybe off-screen. But yeah, he was designed with old poise, and then I revised him with new poise, so he's a little odd. He doesn't have a whole lot of poise on his kit because of that. So I think, do we want to start with the big one first? So that we have, like, the pinnacle, and then we can kind of split him up into the two lower ranks. We can, like, split his abilities between them. Or we could make the two above him first, and then combine them into his abilities. So it's just a matter of how we want to do that. Let's see what he has in the wiki. Slash fertility, bleed, paralyze, slash power up. Yeah. So, yeah, all well and good. They don't have the most interesting passives, and that includes Kurokumo clan. On Act 2, yeah, these guys, frankly, do not have a lot of interesting passives. Deal more staggered damage with bleed, or, no, deal more stagger with slash dice, whatever. Anyway, very boring passives, so we're going to have to figure out some new passives to give them. The lower guys shouldn't need too much, but the upper guys really should have something to make them unique. Okay. So, let's just do the simpler ones. So these guys are going to be 2-1 and 1-2 enemies. So let's say 2 speed dice, 1 light regen. Dice size, I think they can be pretty fast. Let's say D10. I'm fine with them being a little inconsistent in that regard. Hit points. What do I have for similar? These guys are on 50. I think I want these guys to be a little stronger. So... oh. I think, nah, giving them too much health could be troublesome. Let's just do 50-50. And then they have a... I gave these guys a lot of stagger resist. Holy hell. Let's see something else. If it's maybe... yeah, I mean, that is quite a lot. Why did I give them so much stagger resist compared to health? I guess I just had different ideas of how I wanted to balance things back then. So let's up it. Yeah. And I think that's a good baseline for now. We can adjust it later. Light. Give you 6. Give you 5. I think 6 is fine. Gives them a good amount to work with early on. These guys are kind of, not necessarily ambush fighters, but definitely people who want to start a fight and end it very quickly. So, resistances. What are your resistances in Ruina? Endured to slash, weak to blunt. Makes sense. Yeah, let's do -2, +1, +1, -1. Yeah, that's fine. Boom. Good to see you, Moss. And then passives. This is going to be interesting. So, you do not have a lot. This does not even need to exist. About you. On hit, inflict bleed, clash win, inflict bleed. I don't want to make that just a basic passive. That is very strong in this system. Yeah, slash attack, inflict bleed, let's soon. Yeah, give the Kurokumo clan a gun. That'll work. So, what do we want their niche to be? I heard that one person in the Discord decided to focus in on making them like ambush fighters, which could be good. They're very much meant to be like a lot more bullies, a lot more like debt collectors. Bleed, bleed, flash dice. You know, if they're meant to be like the hunter, people hunting down the blade lineage, we could give them a passive against slash dice. Buff to unopposed attacks, that could also be interesting. Yeah, unopposed attacks could be good. We want to make sure they have enough tools in their kit to get some unopposed attacks off, while also not just completely making their attacks unavoidable. But let's... I do... Ezor strike. On hit, if the unopposed, inflict 1. I can actually grab from. Two passive like Heathcliff, that could be good. Kurokumo clan Heathcliff. Hmm. This wall. So his isn't. His tattoos aren't represented in his actual kit, but yeah, an ability inspired by that could be good. Though these, no, he does have them. Right, for this generic does have the tattoo. What about? Oh. You have some. You do not show any, but that doesn't mean you don't have any. Same with you. Okay. So Cumulus 1. Wall. How do you spell the Cumulus again? Okay, it is just no. Alright. Cumulus wall. No, you know what? I think I want a more defensive passive on you, since you're going to be the defensive one. So instead, let's figure out, leave that for now, figure out what I want to do for a second passive. I think just 2 passives on this guy should be fine. Maybe an on-kill thing? That won't go off too often, but it'll make them a bit of a threat when it does. Questions. Hierarchy passive. Interesting. That could be. I could also do something with just the general idea of ink, which they seem to have a lot of. Ink, I kind of associate more with like sinking. The poise can also work. Ink. What is a good vibe for ink? Fragile or vulnerable could both work. We could also do something regarding stealth. I don't want to give them a passive that just gives them stealth straight up at the, like, maybe the start of the fight or whatever, because I feel like that's something that the DM would more so give as, if the, situation allows for it, so. Yeah. Yeah, I do like the idea of giving them stealth at one point, especially since I used their symbol for the stealth status, but it's also something I don't want to mess with too much. That's something I want to be very careful with. Yeah, they don't really do anything of the sort from what I've seen. As far as I can remember, they're not really about that sort of thing. Kurokumo. What about Ryoshu? Do you have anything? You're more debuffs. What debuffs could I give this guy? Obviously strength, people disarm. Yeah, this is tough. Maybe we should just design some skills and then figure out a passive to help with those skills. Yeah, let's do that. So, yeah. Let's grab just some skill here, so we can use that as a baseline. Kurokumo clan. So they got rules of the back streets, clean up, dark cloud. The rules of the back streets I want to save because that has a very specific version that people normally think of, and that's the one I want to represent. Let's do clean up. So you know what? This, something closer to this version, I think I want to save for this one, actually. Well, no, because you don't really need it. You don't need a light regen. You do. Yeah, so... yeah, one cost that can regen light under certain circumstances. Let's do that. So, clean up. One cost. Let's do on stagger, regain 2 light. Not on kill or stagger. So this is how they get a lot of their light regen besides with a 0 cost. And let's actually pick numbers that work rather than whatever the hell this is. Cleanup originally just has 1 die. Do we want... yeah, I think 1 die. 2 bleed on 1 die, I think that works. So 1d8 plus... believe 1d8 plus 4 is the standard for... 1 costs... let me double check. 1d8 plus 3, okay. So plus 4 is not unbelievably high, so I think that's... and honestly, does it need much more than that? Probably a little, just because it's not going to be staggering or killing all that often. Could we give it an on-use effect? Or... or a check? Clean up. That kind of brings to mind ideas of removing some sort of threatening effect from the target. I got it. Where are you? Want to do rank 2s, nullify. So basically just trying to get through the opponent's strength, usually, is what this is going to be used for. By the point you're fighting these guys, you've probably started stacking strength a little bit. Being able to take care of that and also checks, I think, is good, and also prevents him from being overwhelmed by just putting a check on a single die, which, you know, is a pretty solid strategy for most of Stars of the City. So being able to counter that a little bit without being overwhelming is good. I think that's the skill done. And then Dark Cloud. Yeah, I don't really want to apply that effect. And draw a page, that's not really something you do. You got ink over, I don't really want that. Sharpened blade. Goes to the back streets, clean up. Ooh, cumulus wall, sky clearing cut. Clean up, okay. Let's do sky clearing cut. So this has a very specific version that comes to mind. Kurokumo Honglu. So I generally... Wait, no, that's not what it is. Never mind. I thought... Yeah, I was thinking of Cloud Cutter. So, Sky Clearing Cut then, is that on Kurokumo Rhodian? Yes. So, big crit, bleed, everything. So that means... I kind of prefer this one, though. Yeah, okay. I like that. So, the way that's looking... Sky... Clearing... Cut. Get rid of the eminence. Boom. Boom. Change that to blunt. I think 1d4 plus 1 is 4 plus 1. Flash. Lose. Give the next die plus 3 power. Make it a little dangerous, but also don't make this one too big. Yeah. I think that works. Hits, inflict 2 bleed, yep. Okay. Then you... That's an I don't think I've ever seen much aside from Blade of Lineage Faust's effect that changes crit chance. What the fuck is that conditional? Boom. You know what? Let's add that conditional in a weird sense. Check if target... I'm just gonna say any bleed. Roll this die twice and take the higher result. Yeah, that effect could be interesting too, but again, I just realized chat is not on the screen. Let me get you guys actually on the stream, so people see what I'm responding to a lot easier. That would be a good idea. Properties. Boom. Choose the right pop out. Then the two monitors kind of messes up OBS for some reason. Let me boop. Boop. You a little taller. Yep. Okay. There we go. Yep. You've got uppies. You are now on the stream. Nice. So, that brings us to... Yeah. Hits, inflict bleed. Crit. Inflict 1 fragile. I think that's nice. It's, Boop. Oh, not trash crab. Fragile. I think that works. Oh. Okay. And then clean up, cumulus wall, violent mist. Interesting. That looks like more something for the defensive one. Also defensive. Yeah, most of the offensive ones are taken by, like, the actual, like, really iconic skills. Kurokumo clan has a lot of iconic skills just because of how they've been designed. Like, Rules of the Backstreets, Cloud Cutter, all those sorts of things. So, I want to give, like, the really dangerous ones to the big guy, and I don't want to give multiple skills that do of the same name that do the same thing. So I do kind of have to skip over some of, like, Rules of the Backstreets, Dark Cloud, so that I can get to those iconic ones. So let's see. Scattering Slash was you, yeah. What about Brioche? What about you, actually? Cleave, Cloud Burst, was that? No, that doesn't actually exist in Ruina. That's a original name for your skill. Oh my god. You don't see this every day. Modern IDs do not have that. Let's see. That'll be your 3 cost then. You know what? We should probably be taking more of a look at the generics as well. Okay, not much. Lenticular Scatter. Okay. You know what? Yeah, let's actually do... What does lenticular mean? Hang on. I don't actually recognize that word. Lenticular. Lens-like shapes. Okay. The illusion of depth. New word. I have no idea why that is used in the Kurokumo, but that is neat. Lenticular sword. I think that's a Ryoshu. Kurokumo Ryoshu. Yeah. So let's look at that. Yeah, offense level down, damage down. Let's make this pierce and then slash. Boom. Bleed. It should be pretty big if it's a 3. 2. Do I have any 2 die? Oh, we got Oldest Trick. We got... Yeah, not many, no. Got 2 of them. Bastion and Oldest Trick, so there's not much. Oh, lenticular is a shape clouds can have. That would do it. So let's figure out here. Yeah, so this number a little lower. So that looks like strong numbers, but not unbeatable. And then hit. I don't want to just be more bleed. She has a lot of debuffs. Inflict 1 feeble. Boom. That does it. And then... oh. Ah. Oh. Let's figure out an on-use. Is there... Thorns, Safeguard, Poise, Aggro, Charge... yeah... The thing is, they don't really use Poise in Limbus, except for her. So it's not like I really have too much of an incentive to do it here. Though, this still kind of work, and I want to get more stuff with Poise done. Conundrum. You know what? Gain Poise equal to highest bleed count among enemies. There we go. Is not 2 plus highest bleed count among enemies, so they can actually get a decent amount. And let's reduce this if we're given a bunch of Poise. Boom. Okay. That looks... I said I didn't want to give them just too much bleed, but... Yeah, I'll leave this for now and figure it out if I want to throw something else on it. Yeah. Okay, so let's do... what is... Focus Strike... about... Hongaloo. What do you have? You have Cleave. Yeah, let's do Cleave as your 1 cost. Or 0 cost, sorry. Hit, inflict 1 bleed. D6 plus 2. Honestly, yeah, keep it simple. They don't have to be anything too crazy. Huh. Okay. Curious. Now, back to the passives. Is there anything... You know what? Let's do... On clash, lose. Oh. Gain 1 poise. Lets them bounce back and lets them use poise a bit without it getting too crazy. So they only have 2 sources of poise. Is there a better passive for this idea? Passive name, sorry. Huh, interesting. I guess they wanted to make the passive a bit different. Wild swordsmanship. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I can't find any other passive I think I'd like to call it. So, yeah, let's just keep this for now. Yeah, so decent stuff. They can definitely be a threat, but are not going to be overwhelming. Should I give him an evade die somewhere, though? Oh. To evade or not to evade? That is the question. Ah, fuck it. They're meant to be offensive. As for you, what shall we do for you? For HP, I'm gonna say 70 with, yeah, 35. Let them be perfectly half and half. You only really need, if you're gonna be, our 2 light regen. Giving you this would be good. And you don't need a whole lot of light, so let's have you be 5 instead of 6. And resistances. You are going to have slightly different resistances. I think this is good. -2. -2. And then +1. Yeah. Okay. On clash win with a defensive die. Gain 1 poise. Boom. There we go. Give that one its poise source, so it's a little different. Kinda. Yeah. Okay. And then for your other passive, do I just want the same thing, or? Yeah, I mean, this is kind of their iconic thing, isn't it? So. And then just give you less bleed in your skills. So the Instigator, I want it to be still defensive, but like a defensive that really still wants to start things. Proactive defense, if you will. So I think the die size, D8 is probably fine. Yeah. Then let's see. You have the most defensive abilities. Let's keep you in mind. Scattering Slash, yes. I think I want you. Boop. Scattering slash. And I want a block die. Let's grab it from you. Kurokumo. Boom. Let's do 1d8 plus 1. It's mostly just a way to get the attack started. And then a decent sized... what is the cost here? 2. Yeah, I still want it to be the big ones, so let's do... Yeah, honestly, d6 plus 6. d6 plus 5. And then... block. d8 plus... do on a d8. What is it? It's a very weak one, but we're not... This is a 3 cost instead of a 2, so let's do plus 3. Yeah, bit of aggro. I think I want these guys to be more proactive. So I don't think I want to give them aggro, but rather more so in the realm of a bind and haste tank. Speed control. Proactive. Gain 3 protection. So if they go in on the offensive, they get very protective for a little bit. You know what? Actually, I do think I want to give them aggro, but I want to... And... Alright. Aggro. So this, I think this is going to be their only source of aggro. I think I want them to have to rely on this specific ability. So if you are able to slow them down to the point that they cannot use it proactively, then you are going to be in a fine spot. And then... yeah, it doesn't do much other than that. So what do I want to give it, is the question. What does... so, I believe you had Scattering Slash. Yeah, just Poison Bleed, nothing interesting. Yeah, iconic skills, but not iconic passives. Yeah, they definitely have a very interesting passives, and by very interesting, I mean not at all. Yeah, I think you're a little behind, Nicola, when you see this. Might be worth refreshing your browser if you want to be caught up. Let's see. What else? A flash wind of some sort. Inflict on arrow. And that will be good enough, because Paralyze is a very debilitating status. Okay. Oh, and that should be Slash, not Pierce. Okay. Now, Silent Miss. Interesting. So... I think this should be resolve instead of protection. And what? That's also meant to be a 2 cost. Let's actually have it be 2 cost. So, blunt / weak block. Got it. Silent missed. 2. Slash. That's blunt / Are they different? No, they're the same. Yeah, Now they have poise. I don't want them to be too overwhelming. Then a block die that is fairly weak. Proactive. Gain. To resolve. And to... boom. And... boom. There we go. /. What to do with you? You know what? Bind is probably a good thing to inflict. Good. Bind. Boom. Oh. Ashwin. And 2. No, not 2 endurance. Gain. Rinse. Boom. Bada boom. Nope, nope. Endurance. And for you, I think just a little bit of bleed is fine. You're gonna have a little bleed as a treat. Then, so if the henchwomen are, yeah, they have a little bit of the same sort of vibe I'm going for. Really just a little bit of protection, bleed, paralyzed, yeah. That's not, yeah, that's not a lot. What to do for the rest of the skills? Honestly, not, you can have cleanup as well. You don't really need it, though. You know what? Sky clear and cut. That can be the skill that you both have. So, which means I think I want the last skill to be more block focused. So, right, grab a skill. So, boom. do you have? Sharpened Blade, Scattering Slash, Sky-Killer Uncut. What are some like synonyms for like bully or like assault? Bully synonyms. Always gotta look up some synonyms. Always gotta look up some synonyms. Ew. Pressure. Heckle also works, but I think I like pressure. Do block, and then I'm gonna do something a little hurtful on this one. Slash win. Buffalo. Jeer, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking this is like them getting up in your face and trying to like take up space. Slash win. Choose a skill. How do I want to word this? Reduce the limit on one of the target's skills. Reduce the uses of one of the target's limited use skills. Oh, I already wrote skills. By one. So, and then boom. I think that works, yeah. So that can be a little nasty for some builds, but it's not the end of the world for most. Just need to make sure you're clashing well into. I don't think I want to give it too much else, but maybe a little something something. Hit. Reduce a boon on the target by 2. There we go. So definitely a skill that can hurt, but not is going to be too overwhelming. That's what you want. Okay. I think that works well for her. Now, we get to our favorite boy, a human leader. So you, I think I want D8 plus 1. I think I want you to be 3/3, because you're not supposed to be a boss all on your own, but you are supposed to pick up the threat of like 2 members or so. And then if we're taking up the threat of 2 members, probably 130 health, I think would be good. And let's do 50 stagger. So, a little easier to stagger, proportional to his health, but I think he'll have tools to deal with that. Light, probably 7? Yeah, gives him some room to use some big stuff right off the bat, but he doesn't want to be spamming his shit. And then let's do -3, but only -1 here. And then let's do -1 on Pierce, +1 on Blunt. Yeah, that looks interesting. And then, obviously, if we're giving both of these guys this, boom, Razor Strike. I'm going to make sure I specify for you and Clash lose with an offensive die. Gain 1 poise. And then also give you Cumulus Wall. Boom. So now you have both ways of poise generate. I realize you need more poise, don't you? Where can I give that? Not evade, gain 2 poise. Boom. Okay. And that brings us to... Yeah, do we want to give more passives? What do you have? No, nothing. Nothing? No. Or I could just give you critical infliction. I think I want to give you building speed, actually. I believe I gave it to a Leo guy at some point. Yeah. Let's call it Heat of Battle. So, more speed dice later on. So, kill the minions fast, or else you're going to have a problem. No, wait, actually, speed dice. June has something, doesn't he? Yeah. So instead, dies, this unit gains 1 additional speed die for the rest of combat, max +2. Okay. That can make him a problem if you allow him to continue, but it's not going to be so crazy. Okay. I believe this is something I want to give you right off the bat. Crit. Inflict 1 fragile. Boom. That's a good start. And no, I don't think I want to give it more power. Do I want to give you... Yeah, let's give you this skill as well. And so now I want your 2 and 3 costs to be more unique. So you have... yeah, I definitely want to give you something to buff. Sharpen the blade. So make like a, more supportive version of that. He has his own, actually. Sharp Edge. Yeah, I think I want to name it more accurately. So let's do... Oh, no. Oh. Sharp Edge. Cost 2, limit 3. I don't want him to be able to throw this out too much. Boop. On use for the rest of the scene, all Kurokumo allies gain plus... Do I want +1 or just a straight up +2? I think I just want +1. +1 power flash dice. You know what? Check power +3 if the opposing die is a slash die. And then Sharp Edge is, yeah. It's 4 + 4. And then I think I also want to throw a block at the end, just like the other version. Yeah, I think I can give it a little more than that. Oh, sorry. Do I... Let's see. I do want to keep this effect, but I also want to give it a little something extra. But I also don't want it to get too crowded. Suppose... Oh, I could probably just do poise. Who do you think's gonna be the next ID? Probably another apprentice. I think we're gonna get all the apprentices before we get the nurse fathers. So that... Next apprentice... The male apprentices definitely don't feel like they have as much... Like, they're not as designed to sell IDs, honestly. I could see us getting, like, the Lucio ID. Before the others. Just because I feel like our next ID is going to be... well, we might get something more exciting. Yeah, Faust Albania. Faust did just get an ID, though. And she is, I feel, the most likely one for Albania. But, yeah, like I said, she just got an ID. So I think probably a Lucio of some sort. Witch Sinner? Honestly, I think Hong Lu. Unless I'm forgetting, I don't think he's gotten an ID recently. Let me just double check. Hong Lu. Yeah, Hong Lu is overdue an ID. Lucio Hong Lu, absolutely. He needs it. Also gives him a good, burn ID. Because he does not have one. Yeah. And also, Lucio and his whole deal very much feels very Hong Lu to me, because of how Hong Lu was, you know, raised to be extremely passive, and Lucio does not take charge for himself, even if he was planning. He made plans, but he never put those plans into action even when he got the chance. Yeah. So I think there's too many things lining up for it not to be Lucio Hong Lu, the more I think of it. Just because he is overdue an ID. It has been, what, like... yeah, around 5 months or so. So... bro needs it. Yeah, we already know that Rian is going to be, Yisang. Which does kind of suck that he is getting another syncing ID. But Rian's probably gonna be more poised focused than syncing. Okay. So, going back to our boss character. Let's see. Yep, sharp edge. Sky clearing cut. Ooh, interesting. Ah! No. Ah, no. Not open that. Oh, Ren. Yeah, the pinky guy, yeah, Ren Sinclair is also pretty reasonable, though I do think it would visually look a lot like Blade Lineage Sinclair, but visually, hard to parse IDs have not stopped them, as with, the two Heisho Maos that look just about identical, so... boom. Not like they'd be on the same field at the same time, the two Sinclairs. Yeah. Yeah, I could honestly see the next banner might be a duo banner, going by how they did, the Capo Marceau and, Soldado Sinclair. So I could definitely see, like, a duo Lucio Ren if they wanted to do that. Boom. Because I don't feel like the two male, apprentices have, the same marketability that the, ladies do, which is unfortunate. PM is generally very good about giving the guys attention, but you could absolutely tell who the favorites were in this, this batch of characters. Ren plus Albina if we were doing duos. Fair, but I don't think... They do have the boss fight together, but they don't really do much together aside from that, so... Urso's gonna get Ring Nurse Father? I could absolutely see it. I'm not sure if they would want to go all in on Prosthetic Merceau, given that prosthetics might be a big point of his Canto, and we know Merceau, holds some degree of dislike towards prosthetics. It's not entirely clear, but his relation to prosthetics might be very important in the Canto, so it's hard to tell whether or not they'd want to do a fully prosthetic Merceau, is what I'm getting at. Okay. Sky clear and cut. Interesting. Flash when all allies heal SP. I like this effect. Hang on. Sky clearing. Cut. Plus 2. And I always forget. Okay, that does seem to be the right eminence. Right spelling. Eminence. All dice on this skill gain +1 power for each skill with a different name used this for each different nouns used this turn. There we go. Gangnam, I understand that that is not technically a slur, however, I am going to remove it. I do not know if you're black or whatever, but I just do not want, euphemism slurs in my chat. But I won't time you out or anything, this is just your warning. It's all good, as long as you're willing to not do it again. Different people have different limits on how they interact on the internet. I am not going to get on you for using personality A in group C or whatever. You actually need to be. Oh. Let's do very weak on its own. I almost made it a lot stronger than a What's your opinion on the different game modes and skin system? I'll hold off on judgment until we see more. I do think I like that they're experimenting with the gameplay of Limbus. I think there are absolutely some really cool things they could do with that. I'm not sure if I like the idea of making an auto-battler mode, especially when main combat does not have anything that really is super fun reliably right now. Mirror Dungeon is, a slog of just getting the right gifts, so I absolutely want a good normal combat thing before I want some sort of auto-battler, especially since I have no idea how clashing would work in an auto-battler. That is a weird idea, but as far as game modes, I think more stuff like Spring Cultivation is good if used sparingly and with purpose. I actually really hope we get a base rebuilding minigame with the next Intervallo. That could be very fun. Oh yeah, sounds of various dice fidgeting with. Dice. Of course I have dice. But in terms of skin system, I really don't think they should have worked on it. I think even if it makes money, it's just a waste of time because of how complicated I feel like it must be to make all of these different mechanics work. And the more crazy IDs we get with their own crazy mechanics, like Wild Hunt Heathcliff, or Lord Honglu, which they said would be excluded from the skill system, the more complicated our IDs get, the more of these exceptions there are going to be, So either the skin system would be left behind, or the IDs would have to accommodate for the skin system. And like I understand the basics of how they want to make the skins work. Like, I saw, you know, the tests they were doing with Magic Bullet, where 3 or 4 Magic Bullet fires. I understand how the skin system is meant to work. I think it's just way too much effort for something that could be solved by, instead of trying to turn one ID into another ID, just make all the IDs reasonably within the same power level. Like, they don't need to be identical. Old IDs can still be a little worse, but they definitely need something to bridge the gap to keep these old IDs relevant. Pajama skin line, however, would be peak. Though with something like that, like, what would the fighting style be? Is a weird thing. Like, would they just be using the Sinner's base weapons? How would the animations look? If so, would it just be a cooler, more impressive version of the Sinner's base fighting style? It's an interesting question, and I think, you know, some sillier skins could be good, but overall, I would like to see the effort put more into actual gameplay stuff, because that is generally lacking. Boop. Anyway. Hit inflict 1 bleed. Usually, I don't want it to be a huge amount of bleed. 1. Boop. Alright, and then... Yeah, that's fair. The labor needed to... well, fixing balance, yes, those are different teams. But I think, like... yeah. Thing is, they would have to communicate if they're wanting to, like... yeah. They're working on Thread Spin 5, but they are not working on Uptie 5. Kim Ji-hoon's still being stubborn about that. Like, egos, they say they're meant to last, IDs are not. And I think IDs are, frankly, the more important thing to make last. But I understand why they've said they don't want to do it, though I have my problems with the fact that they say they want ID power level to be related to the story, and then we get such a wide range of, like, units. Like, we got Capo Merceau and Soldado Sinclair in the same banner, and they're meant to be roughly competitive with each other. So, like, what are we doing, Kim Ji-hoon? Are we doing actual lore-accurate ID power or not? And also, IDs have their own sort of in-universe reason why they can be of weird power levels. So, like, yeah, I've got my gripes with how Kim Ji-hoon handles some of this stuff, but that's probably a topic of its own video at some point. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, I think I want 2 more skills on this guy. One of them... rules... the back streets... I think I'm gonna make this one just block dice. However... So, counter dice work a bit differently in this system, so how do I want to do this? Definitely want to obviously have it be after use. You don't have any. Oh. Check. Power +2 for each living ally. And then I want to have him be able to draw attacks in, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to. Yeah. Thing is, there are a lot of IDs to make an Uptie 5 for. I fully understand that. However, I think they can easily do what most gacha games do and just release them in batches. They're already looking to do that for Threadspin 5, but yeah, doing Threadspin 5 first is reasonable. I fully agree on that. I think if they want to do that as a much more priority and stuff, that's good. It's just the fact that they are saying, like, we specifically don't want to do Uptie 5 is my problem. If it's like, we'll get to that later, I fully understand. I think Uptie 4 came out way too early. But yeah, it's the fact that they have said they don't want to do them, and their reasoning is bad, in my opinion. And it hurts the longevity of the game. Hit, bleed. You know what? I know exactly how to do it, actually. One bleed. Till the end. You know what? I don't have any, like... What if I do some sort of, like, super aggro? But it's like, instead of being on the user, it goes to a target, and that target can only attack you for the scene. I like that. I think that's good for a 3 cost. And it forces someone to get fucked up. Yeah, so what an Uptie 5 would be, it would be more powerful, but specifically the design I'm looking for is for older IDs to have much more of a power boost than newer ones, and possibly some sort of universal mechanic so that the ones who aren't getting something specific to them because they're already good would still be benefiting a bit from it. Yeah, I do hope they fold on the Uptie idea at some point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, what? Last list. Let me bring up the big ol' Lunartique doc. Thank you, Lunartique. Everyone say thank you to Lunartique. Limbus Company. Okay. Images. Icons. I have no idea what icon I'm actually looking for. Usually I do, but not here. Okay. What would be a good... Because this would not be something unique to them. This would be on everyone. So what would be a good super aggro? I could use this. I'll just keep it for... Let's look at this one as well. That's an option. Some sort of like enraged looking thing, because I think that would be more of what it would be. So we could like use this. This is probably gonna be used for Shin at some point, so not that. Maybe this. La da 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 da. What are some good defensive stuff? Hello, Dark Door. Good to see ya. I forgot this status effect just uses the old LobCorp image. Oh. Yes. Dark Cloud. It is Kurokumo themed, but I'm looking for this to be something I can use on other characters. Yeah, Rian, I don't think he's entirely meant to just give us a Black Silence ID, but that's definitely part of it. I won't lie. It's definitely a part of why he exists. Also, just, you know, to foreshadow Roland for Limbus onlys. Yeah, I doubt we're getting the full 9 coins, even if it is, you know, unfocused volley and all that. But I do think he'll have something cool. Dueling. Is that really... Is that Spice Bush's dueling effect? Is that really what it looks like? What? I can't even, like, tell exactly what it's supposed to look like visually. That's weird. Okay. I'm just gonna take this because I need it for Shin. I just realized that's the nugget body. That's neat. Honestly, this could be a good enraged sprite. No, you're used for instinct. Nah. Blade gaze, one storm. Various hands. Oh my god, we're only at H. There's so many statuses. Let's try and go through this a little quicker. Oh. La da 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 da. It's crazy how many new statuses they add every Canto. Yeah, it is weird that we're getting the Nurse Father IDs, but honestly I think it's just because there's no other time to get them. So might as well do overpowered IDs. Yeah. I don't mind getting overpowered character IDs. I just don't like the hypocrisy of then going and saying that the IDs are meant to be lore accurate. Honestly, I'd prefer that we get the IDs of overpowered characters if it's the only chance we're reasonably going to be able to get them. Ba-ba-bum. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else I'd really like to use as sort of an enraged or full focus sort of status effect. Oh, actually, that could be useful. Yeah, we're never gonna get 4 stars, and we shouldn't get 4 stars. Adding extra stars to unit tiers is not something I've ever liked in gacha games. It just feels completely unnecessary. Just adding more stars to a thing does not make it cooler or more mechanically interesting. It just makes it more expensive, which is not something you want in a gacha game. If you're a player, at least. This is a funny one, but I don't really want it for what I'm thinking. Okay, let's not spend too much time on this one. I think I know which. So it's between, I think, these two. So the Alyssa one, pros, it looks very angry. Cons, it is a recognizable character. With a recognizable suit. This one, probably a bit more versatile, honestly. Can probably be used for more things. So I think I want to go with this one. Okay, so special status. What do I want to call this? I could do enraged, because that's kind of what it is like in like a traditional RPG, is the idea of you have to attack this person. Stolen focus. Fixated. I like that. Fixated. When inflicted a combat and is the focus, the inflicted unit can only target their foe. The focus when using clearing targets proactively. Hello, Senna! Yeah, I do think this fits more as a general use. Our focus. Okay. And let's do proactive. Inflict special status fixated with user as focus. Focus. Block, block. These can actually be a bit bigger. You can go away. And okay. All right, and now I want to go back to these two skills and make them slightly stronger. Honestly, I think that's good for this one. Oh, no, wait. You are not a skill copied from you. You are your own thing. Okay. Then... Okay, we need a 0 cost. I don't... Let me just copy this for reference, but I think I want this to be a... Honestly, I do think Magic Otis is a bit more hard. It's not the hardest of work, but there's definitely weird bullet management you need. It's not a huge amount of work, but she definitely does not have the payout unless... I would say unless you're running a burden team, but even with that, nowadays... Dark Flame is even still outclassed at this point, especially with how long it takes to build up. The thing is, you need to figure out your timing of when you want to use the magic bullet. You need to make sure you're not wasting the extra burn you would get from her skill 2, which for some reason does not inflict Dark Flame if you're... does not inflict Dark Flame if you have too many bullets, which is a weird thing. It's a very weird ID. It is definitely not among the hardest IDs to pilot, but considering, sort of how her gimmick works, it is not enough payoff for how much it is. But I do have generally more favorable opinions on Magic Bullet than other people, but I absolutely see where they're coming from. Alright, what is... Let's call it... I don't have Shadow Club used anywhere, right? No. Shadow Cloud. Okay, and let's do check our against. I'm just gonna say against offensive dice. Just encourage you to clash in with like a block or evade instead of an offensive die. Which, you know, you'd already want to be doing, but... Yeah, honestly, I think this looks good for a mini-boss. I think Sky Clearing Cut absolutely can be nasty later on in the fight if you can't deal with it, but it's not going to be so crazy. Okay. I like this. I think it makes good use of some of the new tags. We have a new common special status that we can use when we want it. I am appreciating this. I think I would absolutely have to see it in action. Again, the main flaw of this system is that I have barely played this system. It is definitely something I need to do more of. Thankfully, we've got... Pryor's hinted at this. I can tell you a little bit. Pryor is looking to run something within the next few months. I don't want to give more details than that, because that's for him to talk about. But he has hinted on stream, so I am comfortable saying this much. But I do hope to do other stuff soon. I might be getting... talking to the Time Heist crew now that holidays are over. We're a good bit past Canto 9. But... Yep. Hello, Pryor. But I think... I was looking to get to the Blade Lineage as well today. However, I am very hungry. It is almost 10 o'clock. I generally don't want these to do much more than 2 hours. So, let's... I do have something else to do before we end off, though. So let's just take all of these motherfuckers. Make sure there's nothing I'm forgetting. I don't think so. I think I've got them all set up. Boop. Syndicates. Add subtab. Is there... what about a cloud? Okay, I'm going to... What cloud is best? Kurokumo. Kurokumo. Plan. Boom. Alright, and then I have to fix these. Boom. Boom. Bam. You are fixed. Drag you. Drag you. I just remembered I have to adjust the main character sheet at some point. To add like an inventory system and stuff. I've also been wanting to... I occasionally get requests for sharing the character sheet thing, because I think people don't realize you're supposed to copy and paste it, so I'll probably have to give a little section for the character sheet on that. But yeah, boop boop. Let's see. So one thing I wanted to do... You motherfucker, you... I initially loaded this feat with a bunch of stuff to basically account for the fact that it is not contributing towards any game plan. However, I apparently overloaded it. So let's look at what we want to get rid of from this. I think just getting rid of one thing would be good. I think one of these two things. Gain an additional spare rank 2 module or increase the value of all speed dice. I think. Oop. Captain's skill list is mislabeled. Let me fix that. Oop. Yep, look at that. Yeah, spare rank 2 seems to be the general consensus. I just wanted to double check with stream chat, make sure no one had an idea. Yeah, more speed stuff I definitely want to figure out. That's something to do before 1.0. Yeah. Yeah, the rank 2 seems to be the general consensus. Just making sure no one has any other ideas. Yeah, speed buff is pretty small for most characters. And it's not something that's easy to get through other means, so I think I don't mind it. So I think, unless I see anything contradictory in the next few seconds, I'm nuking the spare rank 2. No, nothing? No one has anything to say? Okay then. Pressing backspace. Oh. Okay. Let's go to the changelog. Nerfed. Jack of all trades by removing the extra rank 2 module. Added 3 new Kurokumo LAN enemy. Boom! Oh, and because of that, I need to... There we go. Alright. I think this will probably be it. I don't have anything to really tease this time around. I think next time we'll do the Blade Lineage and maybe new ego or two. Or maybe we'll look at skill modules and feats. Maybe we'll figure something out for that. Those generally aren't, I feel, as easy to make on stream. Just because the thought process is way different there than just filling out a list of ideas, essentially. But have you ever made the Heisho enemies? That probably won't be for a while, just because I want to make Deathrite. And for Deathrite, we are going to have to wait for Sanguine Shadows. Yeah, I do want to fill out the feat list. It's just a matter of whether or not I'll do it on stream or not. But yeah, I think we are good for the time being. Thorns buff? Not a buff directly to Thorns, but more Thorns modules and a feat or something is definitely a good idea. Do we... I forget, do we have a... Yes, Spiked Shield, that's right, that's a feat now. That's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I'll look into Thorns at some point. But yeah, I think that will be all. So, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next week for finishing up the Blade Lineage, and I think I've got a little collab with another streamer. More of a casual sort of thing, but something I think will be very fun. And you will probably be able to see that on Wednesday, assuming nothing changes. More info will be revealed in a few days. So, let me close everything down, and goodbye for now.